a bit of an update on the race car here. So where I'm at is I've put the turbo, finally finished the turbocharger setup. I mean, it's not completely finished, but it's the bulk of it's done. The manifold's made, the exhaust, the flange, mounted the turbocharger obviously, and positioned the wastegate as well. Plus the exhaust has sort of been positioned as well. Just got it tacked in position. This adapter flange, 2 3/4 inch down to 2 inches, been obviously attached to the V clamp. Anyway, all that, the back end of the car is pretty much established, not finished of course, but established. Now that means, so I don't really want to do any more work on the back of the car for the moment. I want to sort of get the entire car sort of pieced together so I get a holistic view of it, of everything, make some technical decisions with everything in place. So that the idea is that the back of the car is complete enough for it to be established, and so now, and I wanted to get this final bit in here because that was obviously going to have a big play on how much space I needed between it and the firewall and the front of the car. So I move over to the front of the car now. Now it doesn't look like much now, but that's actually the profile of the car in full scale, and it's on a base which is also the scale of the base as well. So I've got a profile and a plan view using those plywood pieces or MDF pieces, and that's basically the layout there. That's what I'm making, and that's going to be the plan view. And then I'll get onto CAD and put all the formers in. So the idea is I want to make my bodywork now, and then once I've made the front tub molds, I'll then make a decision whether or not I run a carbon composite monocoque at the front, or whether or not I use a welded space frame in steel, much like I've done on the rear of the car. And like I make decisions. But one thing I know is for certain, either way, those molds have to be made, because they're either going to be shells for the bodywork, or they're actually going to be structural entities. Certainly the tub will be. The back will just be, you know, the side pods and the engine cover will just be shells. But the front may be a shell, or which just covers the steel structure, or it may be the actual sandwich construction for the composite tub. So that's where I'm at now. I'm basically working on the front of the car and all the bodywork, and then once that's done, I'll then sort of marry the two together. On it now, what I'm working on here is I'm building a pattern, which is going to become a buck or a pattern for fiberglass molding. So what we have here at the moment is the center section, the middle part of the fuselage, as it were, or the bodywork with the side pods missing. I'm going to add the side pods to this pattern later, so then I can mould the middle section up to about where the engine would start, the firewall, and then I can then have the option of making a monocoque composite body, fully structural, and then I can put the side pods on later, and then make the engine covers and those, because I really need that middle bit to form a structural tub if I decide to go that way. If I don't decide to make the bodywork structural and just make fairings out of it, well then it'll have a steel structure inside it, and then either way I still need to make molds, so it makes no difference. So that's what I'm working on here at the moment. This is all going to have foam placed in between these stations, and the urethane foam sands very easily. And I can use these as these formers here, each station as a reference. So when you sand the foam down, you hit these and that'll dictate where to stop. Then the plan is I'll cover it in a light layer of fiberglass to seal the foam, put some car filler over it, and then get the final shape. These rear areas here, this rear turtle deck and stuff here, that'll all be, that's nice. There's plenty of timber in there, wood in there, so I can sand that MDF and get nice radiuses. Again, once the fiberglass and the foam's in, I can put fillets in here and round it all out. This is just the basic shape, so you can see it there. That should work out okay. So if we just have a look here, you can see I've got the car, and I'm actually working on this middle section here right now. You can see that blue area there right through, and then I'll add the side pods, the white side pods, later as described. So that's where we're at. It's looking pretty good. So try and get a little bit more of this done today. I'd like to get the foam into it so I can start shaping that foam, because I think at that point it's going to really start to look like something. So what we have here is polyurethane rigid foam blocks. They sand very easily, and they cut with a knife and a wood saw very easily. So this piece here was literally taken off there, and then I would chop that into various blocks to then add in between these wooden formers, and then you shape accordingly. This will become the base of the shape. Some fiberglass will go over that just to seal it and stiffen it up a bit, because it's quite easy to damage. You wouldn't put filler on that. It's not a good surface to work on. It needs to be tough and hardened, case hardened, and basically when you put the fiberglass on, it will exactly do that, case harden the top surface and give it something for the Bondo to stick to and take the pressure of your sanding. So that's it. So basically I've put the blocks in and sanded them pretty much to shape on both sides now up to this point, and all of that shaping and cutting has resulted in all of this mess. So as you can see, foam blocks freaking everywhere, and I think I'll clean that up before I go any further, because it's just getting a bit difficult to walk in. But yeah, the old saying I used to stick to, where there's mess there's progress. Anyway, I'll clean up this mess and let's get on with it. Here behind me is the center section of the Williams car, which is that middle area there without the side pods. The side pods will be moulded separately and part of the engine cover as well. Right now I'm just working on getting the shape of the center bit done. Now what I've done is I've gone around the entire car, and I've been slapping on this surfboard foam, urethane foam, which doesn't react to any of the resins, which is good. And I've been using, there's some formers on there which have created the shape, as you can see. So this medium, this foam stands down very easily. Demonstrate that quickly. So that's corner there, for instance. I mean, it just comes away nicely, see? So the beauty of that is you can make really good patterns and plugs out of it. All my wheel pants and legs and stylish bits and pieces for my aeroplanes in the past, I've used that method to make patterns and then take molds off. And this is what this is. It's just a big pattern. So now that the foam's been carved and the plywood formers have, or the MDF formers have formed the shape, so obviously you're sanding the foam down, you hit those formers and you use those formers as guides to give you a basic shape. And now what I'm doing now is I'm going to cover the entire body in this fiberglass there, fiberglass weave, surfboard sort of weave, sort of a medium light weave. The idea of that is it conforms nicely to the foam, and it gives that foam a nice, once the resin's gone hard, it'll give it a nice hard shell. And then I'll build up my Bondo and car filler on that and really start to hone in on the shape. So I'll put a coat of resin on that, and that'll be good for this bit. So I've just finished laying up this area of the body work. That's wet fiberglass there. Just finished putting a layer of this cloth over the top of this foam here, and that'll give the foam some sanding resistance. And then what I'll do, and I'll fill that weave with some filler, car Bondo, or because of the bulk nature of this, I'll probably mix up some my own filler using some resin and micro balloon. Put a slurry all over the whole lot and rub it down and start to get it into Alright, so where am I at? I've mixed up this slurry of micro balloon and I've been slowly filling the weave to get the final shape of this body, or getting very close to. Now what I've got here is really thick micro balloon and resin mix. The resin is vinyl ester. So yeah, I've mixed up a nice thick mix of that. And now I'm going to trowel this onto the fiberglass and start to fill in the weave, get it sort of prepared for sanding. That's it. I've pretty much got all the, well, I'm sure I'll have to add more. I'm certainly going to have to remove a lot more. See you later.